Welcome back, everybody, to the Everyday Outdoors podcast. Jesse and Jonathan here as normal, but today we have some special guests, Mr. Brant Masters and Mr. Thomas DeCesare. Welcome, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
I had the pleasure, and we both kind of work with, working on the Ducks Unlimited Foundation fundraiser we had last year, and everything was successful, probably more to you guys than me. And that's kind of where I got to know Thomas. I'd known Brant for a while. Pretty successful fundraiser overall.
Yeah. Pretty cool idea. A couple of us, with the help of Jonathan, and then, Jesse's been a part here and there too. Lakeland, a little bit.
Minutely.
I mean, I feel bad just completely leaving you out.
That's okay.
So, it started an idea of the Lakeland 100, and basically the idea is to get Lakeland's, 100 guys together to raise money for charities, different each year, have kind of a more special or unique event, I should say. Get in, get out. That's what everybody wants. They don't want to sit around for a 4-hour banquet, but to do it quickly and, have our auction items. The main goal is it's nothing you can go buy. Mm-hmm. And so donations from other people or other things that we have connections with. And, last year we raised over $250,000 for Ducks Unlimited.
And it's not like a normal Ducks Unlimited event where, it's for the chapter. Like, I think it ended up grossing the highest ever in the state of Florida, right? For a fundraiser?
I believe so. And I know it was third overall for a single event in the country last year.
That was crazy.
Which is first ever doing it. That's insane.
Yeah.
It came from, the idea actually stemmed from Thomas really has run, and I've helped out very, like Jesse with the Lakeland 100, very little, with the Bartow chapter Ducks Unlimited event. And they do a heck of a job. Thomas got it to the highest grossing net that Bartow had ever done. And I remember our dads came because Thomas and us, friends were putting it on, and they're sitting there talking, and they're like, man, this used to be the event everyone is at. And now us business owners, this is the event we buy tickets to and send our workers.
Exactly.
And that's kind of where the idea came from is, well, we want an event for those business owners.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, to do it started with Ducks Unlimited because that's how we were kind of tied to, also with somewhat the hunting camp did first, but now our main focus will be local charities that are impacting the same businesses that we're working with or involved with as well. So
it's a great organization. I'm proud you guys actually asked me to be on it. I wasn't expecting it, but we are here to talk about another foundation or another event y'all have. Speaking of hunting camp, at y'all's hunting camp, and it's y'all can explain it because I know a little bit about it, but I know I'm not going to do it justice. So I don't know who wants to take that. Thomas,
I'll start it first. I think we'd get a lashing if we didn't say anything about Rob Springer.
Yes,
Rob Springer is for sure the spearhead of both of these events. We do a fall hunt with an organization called Gold Star Teen Adventures, GSTA, and that is run by a gentleman named Kent, who is still, I believe, active military, served several tours and even had his leg amputated and still went back and served active tours.
Wow.
Very impressive individual for sure. So what that organization is they get together several teenagers, all of who have lost a parent either in the line of duty or in war. So the majority that we've seen are fathers that have passed away from going to Iraq or wherever. There's a couple that they do for firemen who've lost their lives or police officers and stuff like that, but majority are military.
What was the name of the organization again?
Gold Star Teen Adventures.
Gold Star Teen Adventures.
Yeah,
cool.
So it's unbelievable. They do a bunch of different events all over the country, and Rob, I don't know how he got connected with them, Rob Springer, but he
got connected with it for the Black Dagger that we'll talk later.
Okay.
He was like, hey, you should reach out to this organization as well. Just because if we had talked about doing other things, because we were only doing Black Dagger once a year. And so to have something in the fall as well that we were able to do. So
yeah. So the premise behind it is in the fall we do a deer hunt And these kids, I mean, it's crazy. A lot of them, they want to come and just kill a pig, which down here we're like, we're
It's
infested
easy.
with them. Yeah,
In my
we
backyard.
don't care. Like, yeah, we'll just throw out some rotten corn or something. But no, we focus on the deer for them, try and get all of them a deer first. And if they want to go back out and shoot pigs, have at it.
So it's a couple day hunt, like a weekend hunt or something.
It is. They come in on a Friday, typically hunt Friday afternoon, all day Saturday, and then they're out Sunday. No, they come in on a Thursday, excuse me, because Friday morning Kent makes them do PT, personal training. So they don't even hunt. They do personal training. Then we do some safety.
I was about to say, do they come with like firearm safety already, or they do it there?
Well, that's what's super cool is, again, Rob has done an awesome job. He's gotten involved with Florida Wildlife, and they have some of their officers come and give basically a hunter safety course there.
Wow.
And then so all of them get their hunter safety education, take the tests. We go do a shooting course, and so that's why they come in on Thursday, so we can do that Friday. And then they're perfectly 100% legal.
Now, do y'all sit in the stand with them, or you just let them?
There's both. We do, but they also come with. Some years they've come with 6. Some years they've come with 2, and I don't know what they call them, but buddies or other people involved in some kids that have graduated from their organization, and but yeah, they all have somebody sitting with them in the stand.
Yeah.
Did you mention the age of these kids, or does it matter, or do you have
what we've seen is like pretty much from like 10 to 17.
That's
the
incredible.
majority.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because all these kids are flying in from all over the country. So it's kind of hard, I guess. They don't want to send an 8-year-old or something like that. But it's crazy. I mean, the premise behind it is, or what I get out of it is, these kids are never going to be able to hunt, or spend time in the outdoors with their parent that they lost. Wow. So this is a way for them to get out there, enjoy that, learn everything that the outdoors gives us, and spend some time with some other kids who are in their same exact situation.
Yeah, and I could speak for me and probably all you guys. Like, you learn that stuff from your dad, or most of the time. So when you don't have a dad, or that situation where your father's passed, it's like, you either got to YouTube it, or you got to learn it from somebody like this organization, like y'all have.
Yeah,
it's incredible.
And it's crazy. You watch it evolve through the weekend. These kids come in as young as I still think I am. The kids don't really want much to do with you. They hang out with the kids, and then by the end, as you get to talk to them or hunt with them and hang out with them, it's like all of a sudden we're the cool dudes, what we all looked up to as our dads when we were that age, when we were hunting with them. And so it's a cool thing to do. And we've also had some other younger friends or kids in the neighborhoods that have come and helped with the event. And one of them, who's been down with us 3 or 4 years now, he got to be a guide this year. And his guy killed a buck and a pig. And so he got to experience that side of it, as well as he's just starting his hunting and realizing
I love that.
how cool. So it's a really cool ordeal.
And this is a random question, just going through. What do y'all do with the meat? Do you give it to them? Can they take it back?
Rob Springer, I will call him out on this, had the grand idea that we processed it there one weekend. And that was
the first time.
The meat grinder out.
And the only time.
Yeah.
And so we specifically called the guy who had it and say, you're sick or whatever, do not come back.
They killed a record number of deer this year.
Well,
22.
Being somebody who's processed my own meat before it's great to do it and eat it. But if it tastes like shit, then you're like, oh, well, I'm not doing that again. And it takes hours.
Okay, you're right, 100%. Now, that year, there were 11 deer killed.
Oh, my goodness.
And I think 9 hogs.
But I guess if you're going to set it up, I would rather 11 deer than one little doe. Because then you're all the prep time, getting all the seasoning measured out, the cleaning, everything.
It's insane. Yeah. And somehow I got tasked with... Well, I know how I got tasked with cleaning all the game animals.
Oh, no.
It's because Brant has some fake BS allergy to deer hair or something, or dander or something.
I'm allergic to deer hair.
He's sticking to that.
Yeah.
But it's really cool.
How do you even figure that out?
When they
your
first
face
came
swells
in,
up and you stop breathing after feeding the deer.
Okay.
When the first afternoon they came in and there was just like 6 deer, I was like, dude, I'm going to be here till we have to go hunt in the morning.
Let's go back. The best part is Rob was like, hey, let's get everything cleaned up. Thomas will have the deer cleaned in about an hour, and then we'll have dinner. And we both looked at each other and was like, you want 6 deer done in an hour. And so...
he's forgotten. He hasn't killed a deer in a while.
No.
Because he's down on the lease. He does it for everybody else. but he hasn't cleaned a deer
He's
in
a
while,
bird
so
man.
he forgot.
Yeah.
He's a bird man.
So, but it's cool because like when we're cleaning them, typically somebody will just watch you do it and say, I'm learning that way. These kids, they want to get right in there, and they
awesome.
want to see me do one half, and then they want to try and do the other half.
Wow, that's a great experience.
It's a great experience. It takes a long time, because they're slow at cutting. They don't want to ruin anything. They're nervous. So I'm sitting there, my half, I'm teaching them, and it takes a while.
Yeah,
plenty
I will
of times
tell you
at
what,
midnight.
I have a whole new respect for guides.
Oh yeah.
After this weekend, I mean, this past year there were 13 deer killed and 12 hogs.
Jeez.
And luckily we talked them out of cleaning every hog.
Yeah.
And only a few of them. But I mean, there was probably a month left of deer season, and we both looked at each other after the weekend and was like, we'll see you in turkey season. Like, I don't care.
I'm done.
Because, dude, you were worn out because you're up early getting everything ready. And we want to. It's a great experience. But by the end of the weekend of getting up an hour before them, all the cleaning, staying up way past because you're hanging out with them, and then, that they're fine because they're
Just imagine
kids
if they were 21, you'd be drinking with them too, and then that's even worse.
Well,
the
wait till
hunt,
we talk about the hunt and turkey season.
So you send it back with like a cooler full of whatever?
So we take all the meat, and one guy is in charge of, he takes all the meat, processes it all, and then gets all the kids' addresses and FedExes it all to them.
Wow, that's awesome.
And he takes it, Joe Hillman actually is the one who did the taxidermy. He's got a taxidermist. He took everything to him. If it was a really nice deer that they killed, something special, shoulder mount. He paid for it, did everything.
Crazy.
If it's just a
Good for
regular
him.
deer, he Europeans it, pays for it, and then pays to ship it to him too.
Wow.
Yeah. It's incredible. A lot of support.
That was the last story about that, unless y'all have questions. But
Well, man, that's just it's unique that they get to take home. Not only get to eat what they kill, which is such a huge introduction to people to hunting, but then like you're saying, it's a European mount or full shoulder mount. Like they can talk about that at their house.
Well, it
like
lives with them
this is
forever,
what it's incredible.
or until their dog eats it.
yeah, well,
I've had that.
I just wanted to say something. You talked about the how one of the I want to call him a student, but participants became a guide. I relate to that so much. I was blessed to have an opportunity to go to some nice hunting ranches growing up, but the thing, I didn't care. I was too young to care about what my father and his buddies were doing. I wanted to hang out with the ranch hand. It's like, oh, you're cleaning deer. Can I come watch? Can I don't know. It's cool as a kid. And that's what I always dreamed about doing, being that PH or being that guide, being that ranch hand, being that, land foreman type thing. And it's cool that you allow, once you have trust in them, let them have that responsibility.
Oh,
it's huge.
And you see it all weekend. And that's what, so 2 years ago, we had a kid. Everybody had shot one but this kid. And, so you start feeling the pressure.
Is this old catfish?
No, not catfish. The tailor that shot the buck at Big Food Plot.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So Thomas and I were like, dude, we've got to get this kid. He's willing to shoot anything. Like, where's our best bet? And I remember Thomas just got that smile on his face, looked at me, and was like, Big Food Plot. I was like, dude, we don't know if anything's coming there. It's one of our quote unquote public stands, so anybody can hunt it, but it's always running. But there's no cameras on it, so like. We have zero idea.
Oh, you're going blind.
Coming.
Yeah.
I mean, literally.
Yeah. And so we're like,
I had a weird feeling.
And I was like, all right, let's go. And so I went and dropped the kid off. And I said, buddy, kind of overconfidently, I was like, you're either going to shoot the biggest deer of the weekend or you're not going to see a thing. I'm prepping you right now. Not even knowing if that's true. Drop him off. Before I even make it back to camp, I have a text from that guide who graduated, was a kid, and was with him and was like, monster buck down. Like didn't realize at the time, but he was like 14 point. And I was like, I've never seen a 14 point killed out here, but I'm on my way. And get there. I mean, I probably got there 15 minutes after they text me and the kid's still doing like somersaults in the field.
Oh, wow.
And,
amazing.
That's
and
great.
it was true. I think it was the biggest deer killed on the property.
Oh, really?
It was a stud.
I think it was 18 or 19 inside spread, 18 or 19 inches.
Yeah,
just
an absolute. The one that other members got a little mad at because they had been trying.
Yeah,
to
I've been looking at it on trail cam.
But and then what you're saying is, I still keep in touch with that kid, and he still texts me. Now, part of it was because he was bugging me, seeing how long the shoulder mount took. But what was super cool is he sent me a picture because now he's in college and it's over his bed in his dorm room. And so, like, what you're saying is how many times he's probably told the story or seen what he's, because he had never hunted before either.
Sure. And that influence.
I was going to say, the relationship almost matters just as much as everything else. So keep in touch with those people.
Yeah. And you learn to respect those guys that are working so hard. You know, like we go out to Texas and all those guys for the duck hunt. I mean, they're, like you were saying, up super late. I mean, cleaning ducks for hours, back up at 4 o'clock. I don't even know if
getting the boat ready to get
sometimes.
Well, a couple nights we hung with them till the last.
Well, at some point I gotta give up too.
And they're drinking.
It's just like
our spring turkey hunt. I mean, it got to me this year, big time.
Wait, is that the dagger thing y'all were talking about?
Yeah.
Well, tell us about that. So you have the deer, and then so what's the dagger?
Yeah, so the black dagger. I mean, both are super cool hunts, but the black dagger is, I think, even cooler for us. So Black Dagger is an organization, and they are, I don't know the right term. They're focused on all types of military, but they definitely wounded vets.
All kinds of special forces.
Their main focus is special forces. And so all these guys that are coming
are badass,
to say the least. Like, and some of them you meet, and it's like you would never know. And then some of them you're like, that guy is terrifying. And I'll let you tell him about the one guy that came down by himself 3 years ago.
Bobby?
Yeah. But basically they're all wounded vets. And I say that because it's special forces. So like the guy I took out this year for turkey hunting, he was still active, but he's in headquarters now because he's out on back injury. And so some of them they're still active. They're just not back on. And so we've got Green Berets, we've got Navy SEALs, we've got, all types. And
they don't need to go through the firearm course.
No.
So without telling the full story, the guy looked at me this year and was like, "Are you comfortable with me taking that shot?" And I was like, "Buddy, if you're comfortable, I'm gonna be
good.
comfortable. You're not gonna do. I'm not gonna do something with that gun you can't do." And the best part of that turkey hunt, which was just incredible. So to start the hunt, I got there, and this was a spot we were going where we know where the birds roost, and so I was like, just giving him a heads up. I don't want to just look like an asshole to this guy. I was like, hey, we're going to have to go in full stealth mode. Like, I'm trying to get us under the birds. Like, they could be in the trees directly above us.
What blind was this at? We were just recently hunting turkey on their property.
Yeah. So this was, it was called Cypress. It's called Cypress Meadow that we call it. It's on, and we can explain more in detail about the property, but it's on the South Lease. Okay. And it's and Rob Springer, again, does an incredible job setting it up for these hunts, because he goes out and puts out blinds, because we don't know until about a week before if there's going to be wheelchairs, if there's not. So there's blinds everywhere.
I didn't think about that.
Mows all the way in. This guy's, the guy's only 4 years older than me, had been serving for 13 years. Wow. And he was out because of a back injury. He was like, I basically have to have a major back surgery to repair my whole back from an incident that happened serving. Don't ask questions. I'm just like, got it.
Yes, sir.
But to really put it into perspective, we were going out in the morning, and I was like, hey man, we got to go in full stealth mode. I know it's not a problem for you, but like, just letting you know why I'm not going to talk, why no lights. And he just looked at me and goes, you mean stealth mode like I'm surprising my girlfriend in the house, or like I'm on a mission sneaking up and slitting someone's throat from behind? And I just kind of stared at him, and I was like, We'll go the latter.
Is there an in between?
And he was just like, I'm just messing with you. Let's go. And I was like,
that's awesome.
Yeah, I'd be like, stealth mode. How about you lead the way?
And not to mention, we had also stayed up a little late the night before, so I'm also like fighting, just like staying up and concentrating, and and he says that to me. I'm like, yep, I'm awake. Let's go.
This guys can turn it on and turn it off. But like, you wake up for any early hunt, that first couple minutes is a struggle. And maybe this is not the first time you've been in a while, but you get out there and it's just quiet and dark, and you're like,
really when you got to go full stealth mode right after you wake up too, that's hard too.
Yeah.
gotta
you're
get in
not
the
all
game.
there. You're like
You're
tripping
trying
on
to-
Senses
stuff.
aren't
yeah.
woken up yet.
Yeah.
And so it's funny you say that because I remember we finally got to the blind, got settled, and it's just dead quiet. And then I had gotten some texts from other guys, hey, turkeys are hot, they're gobbling, we hear, and I'm like, it is dead quiet here. And I'm like, and I'm already like fighting it, like dozing off. But like you said, that first turkey gobble goes off.
Yeah.
It's all gone.
Yep,
Like
you're
you're up. So he ends up, he in his defense took a 55-yard shot, hit the bird, but he flew off and it was done. So and this guy is down, like frustrated,
Yeah.
like, and I'm like, I don't know what I say to a guy like this. Like, I'm not gonna say anything that's gonna
No.
and so he and so basically I was like, all right, we're moving. And so we moved to another spot. And
How early were you? Like when did you take a shot? Like an hour in the blind, or
yeah, it was
so it was still early.
yeah, it was like 8:15 he
Yeah.
took the shot. Sorry, before we did that, we had another bird come in and he could never get a shot off.
Gotcha.
And so I was like, and this bird came within like 20 yards, but when you're now in a blind, you're constricted some.
Yeah.
And I'm like, buddy, I can't do better than that. Like he's 20, but he just wouldn't come to the front.
Yeah.
And so then I was like, all right, let's move. Well, that was right after the shot. And so I was kind of like, man, bummed. We get in this blind. I don't even think to get the blind ready.
Yeah.
And so we're sitting there and we started talking a little bit and all of a sudden just grabbed, cause he texted me, he was like, I need to take care of business. And I was like, yeah, have at it. And he, I see him type in this like 30 character password on his phone and I was like, who knows what he's doing. And finally I noticed birds coming in. So I nudge him. Well, then I realized I didn't pull down the mesh from the blind. So the mesh is still up. And there's one little hole in the blind, and he's like, dude, I can't get a shot until they're like 30 yards past us. And I'm sitting there, and like without hesitation, just says, fuck it, out loud, switches left-handed, and shoots the bird within a second.
Oh, no
And I was like-
way.
I thought you were gonna say just shoot through the mesh.
I was thinking in my head, like, I'm
yeah.
going to do like a 1, 2, 3 pull or
Yeah,
tell him to
yeah,
shoot through.
yeah.
Yeah, or just
And
shoot
before
through
I
it.
can even, he just switches left-handed, boom, bust the bird.
Oh my
We
gosh,
take
that's
off
awesome.
sprinting, and it's a banded bird and has a GPS tracker on it.
Oh wow.
And
That's,
so
that's so awesome.
And dude,
That's
you
the
would've-
one you were telling us about.
you would have thought he
yeah,
was a
couple
6-year-old kid killing his first bird.
Yeah.
Like we were.
That's cool.
It was like the Step Brothers scenes were in their room, like
Yeah,
kicking in the
yeah.
air and fist bumping, and it was nuts. And
Dude,
so,
that's insane.
but you're doing that with a man that's done some pretty insane
Yes.
things in his life, and to do that and experience that,
And then to see him like that,
Oh,
you know
it's
what I mean?
insane.
That's kind of the joy of it.
A grown
Like,
man.
Yeah, a grown man, and it's like he's done all this crazy stuff, and I'm sure he's took much tougher shots than that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just that experience is that's
Yeah.
crazy, man.
And I was guiding his brother. So his brother flew down from South Carolina just because he heard about the hunt and he wanted to hunt with his brother and spend some time with him.
Yeah.
So they bring
Was
this
he
bird-
military or
He was. Yeah,
Okay,
he was
gotcha.
He
Air
was Air
Force and
Force.
he flew, I mean, all over. He was telling me all these, Europe, Middle East, Africa. I
Yeah.
mean, just crazy. And he was dropping guys off, Special Forces guys. They'd either jump
Jeez.
out the back or he'd land on a dirt patch.
like
and
a
then just go.
delivery
Yeah. And he said at one
vehicle
point in
type
Africa,
service.
he would have to fly a Russian plane.
Wow.
Because if all the villages saw a U.S. plane, boom, they'd go and hide. This was during that Joseph Kony, that child soldier guy that was
Yeah.
going on. So he was dropping Special Forces off guys to go and hunt this guy down.
Jeez.
Wow.
So he had to fly a Russian plane.
That's crazy.
But he was the brother, and they bring this insane bird back. Nobody kills a banded turkey,
Yeah.
right? A banded duck, yes.
Yeah.
And this thing's got a GPS collar, and he goes, "Hey, I need to kill a better bird than that." And I was like, "Dude."
Come on, bro.
I was like, for one, I'm not even going to get the pressure because you are not going to do that.
Yeah.
You're not going to kill a better bird than that.
No.
He goes, okay, fine.
But you know what's really cool about they were cool, the brothers there, because he's sitting there like middle finger up when his brother pulls in with Thomas.
Yeah.
And so that's fun to
awesome.
see. But what's cool is because FWC, I mean, it says on there call to return. So I call FWC for them
Sure.
and tell them about it. And they're like, that's a pretty cool story. And I was like, yeah, it was an awesome morning. But they're like, keep it and tell them to mount it with the bird.
Oh,
And I was
wow.
Dude, you might be one of 5 people in the world
Yeah.
with a double banded.
So you told them a story about what you were doing and veteran on the
and
hunt.
FWC was awesome. And they
Man,
just like,
that's
you know
so
what, just keep
cool.
the GPS.
That's crazy.
And I was like, well, I kind of want to see the data too. Like, can we get it off first? And then,
Can we just send it to
where
you?
has he been the last 2 months?
It's on my property. I kind of want to know.
Yeah.
I think they've only banded, so they here at our lease over in Yeehaw Junction, and then south towards Okeechobee at like a WMA. That was the only places that they've banded birds here
Oh,
recently
wow.
in the entire state.
Yeah.
So
Now,
There
they
should be a
banded.
magazine article on that for sure.
No.
Speaking of
Or a
magazine article,
podcast.
you're talking about a published author right here
Oh,
at
really?
NWTF.
Yeah, I was in NWTF. It's not a big deal though.
it is. No one else is published here.
And now I'm going to be on the Everyday Outdoors podcast.
That's right.
so
You're moving on up, brother.
gonna be- yeah.
Wait, what were you in WTF for?
I wrote an article about a crazy opening morning turkey hunt that I had
At the lease or
at
no?
the lease.
Oh, okay.
Yep, and I didn't even kill the bird.
Well, I feel like we need
So-
the gist of the story.
Well, so just before he tells this story,
Yeah.
I've known Thomas my whole life.
Yeah.
He can be a wild card sometimes. And I get a text from Thomas opening morning that says, I have a story for you. And I was like, what happened? And he's like, no, I've got to tell you in person. So my thought is, we can't put it in text and incriminate
Yeah,
ourselves.
yeah,
And so
yeah.
I'm like, what happened? So I'm like freaking out all morning.
Yeah.
And then, but I'll let you tell the story.
Yeah, it's a long story, but I'll shorten it up. So pretty much opening morning, I went to one spot, and we have this big head that wraps around in a U shape, and it's our north fence line. So there's another lease just to the north of us.
Oh, yeah. Is that where the guy and his daughter were hunting when we were out there? Brant? And the turkeys were on the other side of the fence? Okay, I know what you're talking about.
So yeah, so we call it the zoo. So I was hunting on the east side, set up. There's birds hammering on the west side, and it's 500 yards. So I was like, you know what? After I heard them gobble, I don't even know how many times I got up and boogied. As I get there, I start seeing birds on the ground, a couple of jakes, and I was like, crap. So I just set up, put my decoys out, and stopped. And so called a little bit, see 2 birds strutting, come in, and then they just go away, follow a bunch of hens. And I'm like, son of a gun. So I was going to go and get around them because I knew exactly they're going down this lane, right down the fence line. I can get out and get in front of them. Well, I get up, and right on the other side of the fence, I see 2 birds. So I just like sit back down. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I pull my binoculars up, and there's a jake decoy and a hen decoy. And I'm like,
That's what you were looking at?
I was like, yeah. I was like, what in the world? I pan over. There's a guy sitting behind this little ground blind, just like this, leaning up against a tree. I was like, dude, this guy's been here the entire time.
Oh my God.
Didn't call, didn't do anything. So I was like, crap. So I start
So
whistling.
he's on the other side of the fence?
He's on the other side of the fence. He's
Got
on the
it.
other lease.
Yeah, yeah.
So I get up, I start whistling to him. Doesn't do anything. And so I was like, all right, I'm just going back to camp. Get after him, get in the morning. No need to do anything with this guy. So I see him get up, and he sees me, and he waves over and like tells me to come over. So I put my decoys down, I put my vest down, and I put my gun down because I don't want to walk up to this guy with a gun. We meet at the fence line. He's like, "Hey, how's it going?" I was like, "Hey, dude, I'm so sorry. You know, I had no clue you were there. I wouldn't have, set up there." And he goes, "No problem. You were calling pretty good. That's why I didn't call." He goes, "I figured you may have got some in for both of us."
Yeah.
And so we're just sitting there BSing. This old man, Carrie, super nice guy. And I look down the fence line, 150 yards. There's a bird coming right to us.
Oh my goodness.
And I go, "Hey, get down." And Carrie gets down, and he's just smiling. He's like, "What's up?" I was like, "There's a bird coming right to us, a gobbler." He goes, "What?" And I was like, he goes, "What side of the fence is it on?" I was like, "It's on mine." Carrie hands me his gun through the fence.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, so we're both kneeling, and I only have like 10 yards of visibility. Bunch of grass in the way. So I call, bird hammers at like 75 yards. I was like, all right, it's game over.
He's ready, yeah.
Yep. So as soon as he gets like 10 yards, I see him. And so I throw the gun up, and the guy's got a red dot. And I'm not used to red dots on shotguns at all. So when I look at the red dot, it's a foot above the turkey's head. So I adjust. By the time I adjust, bird goes under the fence on his side.
Are you
And
kidding
Carrie
me?
is laying down like a model. Like he's got a bikini on the beach. And he's just looking at me, and his ears are in, or his fingers are in his ears, and then he's like, "What is it?" And I told Carrie, I was like, "He's on your side," and Carrie just like, "What?" And so
You hand him the gun
I
back?
hand him the gun
Oh
underneath,
my God.
and he
Gosh,
can
that's
barely
crazy.
grab it. Grabs it, rolls over to shoot, he put his decoy bag right in the exact line that him and the bird were. So then he belly crawls over, boom, smokes it.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
insane.
It was nuts.
So you pass the gun 3 times or
Yeah.
twice,
Yeah.
I
Twice.
guess, over and back.
Yeah.
And he shoots it.
So
That's
then
insane.
we're high fiving and boom, boom, boom.
That's
I mean,
awesome.
Yeah.
That's a cool
That-
story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is
And that's
cool
a story how I feel like most hunters are like.
Yeah.
You know.
And
Well-
that's what's been cool too is with that Gold Star hunt we were talking about.
Oh yeah, yeah.
We actually pull in. So we're on the DeLuca Preserve. We're one of the 5 leases that make up the DeLuca Preserve, the land that was donated to University of Florida. Rob again did an incredible job, pulled all 5 lease members in, and they help with the Gold Star hunt.
Oh wow.
And so they all come and meet at our camp, grab guys, and so they go hunt stands we've never seen or property
Oh, that's
we've never
cool.
seen.
I didn't know that.
And so last year, all of a sudden walking up, and all of a sudden I hear Thomas, and it's old man Carey just
coming up.
just walking up,
Coming
the
up.
guy that Thomas did it with.
Surprised.
And
He
so-
should have given me the
That's
beard
cool.
or
I was
something.
about to say
The
you should have
Spurs.
got
Yeah.
something from it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Empty-
It would
empty
be a
shotgun
great
shell?
guide for you guys.
Yeah.
For that too. you
I
know?
bet he loves that.
Yeah. I mean, if you know, obviously he's a cool dude handing you his gun.
Oh yeah.
Did
No,
y'all
he
get a
was-
He wasn't-
picture together
was
with
he-
a turkey?
He wasn't
No,
guiding with
no.
somebody. No, he was just out there hunting
Yeah.
on his lease.
On
He's
his
he's a snowbird. He's on this lease to just come down when he's down during.
And
the
you
winter
told him
months.
about what was going on that. Was this during the Gold Star thing?
No, this was during our turkey. This was just
this
me
was
just
just
hunting.
random
Opening
turkey
weekend of
hunting.
turkey
Okay,
season.
Oh, opening weekend.
Yeah,
Okay.
this was just
Sorry.
me.
That's cool. That's cool. But even still, I mean, if he's down there during turkey season,
Yeah.
you know, you got a nice guy. And I think, well, I don't know about Jonathan, but I'm down to be a turkey guide for you. I can't prove it yet because I didn't kill a single turkey this year, but I'd love to help out in any shape or form.
Well,
Those
I mean, we
events.
can talk about how close y'all got.
Well, yeah, we can talk about that, and
mean-
the fact that Jonathan didn't have his gun ready and didn't
Okay,
shoot
first off.
because I had the camera in front
Yeah,
of me.
we were
but,
set. It was we got in the blind, and it might have been 2 minutes, 3. It might be a little longer, 5 minutes.
Yeah, it'd
But
been,
it was
it'd
quick.
been a little bit because we actually joked about how the decoys, if you like leave the stand
Before
come back-
daybreak. Yeah.
Well, just at any point, like, all right, let's get up and leave, but let's leave the decoys here. Let's go look in a different field or something.
Mm-hmm.
Many times I come back and I see my decoys, and I just like your heart jumps. You know, oh, those are my decoys. Dang it! And it wasn't 5 minutes after that conversation, Jonathan's like, "Hey, there's a turkey in front of me."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Good one, dude. I know we just talked about." He's like, "No, for real." I'm like, "A real turkey?" He's like, "Yes, a real turkey." And so I do one of these, like, look out his window, and I'm like, "That's a shooter. That's a shooter." And he's trying to get his gun out,
Yeah.
and I hit the record button. It's like, doo-doo-doo. And the turkey didn't really move, though, hearing the record button go off. He's moving at a fast pace, and so
Yeah.
then I did this little cluck, and he stopped and looked for half a second.
second.
I thought for sure he didn't even see our decoys. You know, didn't even see him. Just looked at the blind, and then
Boop.
just
Gone.
hurried off.
Yeah.
Not really that spooked, but
No. It was like he was
just
on a mission.
quick, yeah,
for some
he knew
ladies.
where he was going.
Yeah.
He had heard something else.
Yeah.
And then 5 minutes later, the hen flies down, and the Jake flies down right in that same spot, and they hung out for a few minutes. But
He heard something
Yeah.
sexier.
yeah, he heard something sexier.
Got to be prepared next time.
I
Yeah,
know.
literally, like my gun was sitting
didn't
there.
hear
I
any
was
gobbles
talking
or
with
anything.
He's
Wyatt.
not here. We'll blame it
fooling
on
around.
Wyatt, your
Yeah,
son that
yeah,
was with you.
absolutely.
We didn't hear any gobbles or anything. He just
No, he just kind of like
popped right up all over
strutted
that
in.
ridge. Yeah, showed himself. Story of my life, man. I just went last weekend with a buddy of ours, Scotty McBride, up in Georgia, and man, we had turkeys out in front of us the first day on one piece of property, but just too far out, could never get them close. And then next morning, gobble over here, gobble here, gobble here, gobble here, gobble here. I mean, all over the place for 2 hours. Nothing would come in or be visible. And then third morning, same area, but just a different location, a little higher up on a ridge. We thought maybe they were seeing us from the ridge. We were hearing the gobbles. So we went up to the ridge, heard a couple gobbles. Scotty and his son backed off and went down a little creek branch, back behind me. And I was hearing some calls, and I'm right on a fence line of someone else's property. Similar situation, but there was like 10 yards of woods. You couldn't totally see through to a cotton field, which was the other property, but all mowed down, all cut. And I think I'm hearing a turkey, coming close, and then all of a sudden, boom, boom. Scared the crap out of me. And I'm looking back thinking Scotty shot something, but it ended up being the neighbor shot the turkey that we were hearing coming right towards me.
Jeez.
And Scotty talked to the guy and he's like, yeah, he was walking right towards your property. I'm like, son of a bitch, man, that was my turkey. You got him. I just had some unlucky circumstances.
Could have been Old Man Carey.
Oh, man.
Gary. Does he have a place in
Multiple
Georgia?
East
Yeah,
Carey.
he might.
Oh, that's funny. Did y'all see the picture of that is Diamondback, right? Snake?
Rattlesnake.
Rattlesnake.
Yeah.
Did y'all see a picture of the rattlesake from that trip?
No.
Did you post that thing?
Yeah, Neil might have.
Yeah, that was
massive
crazy.
rattlesnake.
That was an afternoon hunt. The first day, went out in the afternoon, sat and actually fell asleep for like 20 minutes and woke up. We hadn't heard anything, seen anything. We're like, let's switch spots. And actually, Scotty's son was ready to go home. He was tired, and I'm like, well, why don't you take him back and then come back and pick me up? I'll walk to a different spot. And we're walking back to the truck, and I didn't even see it. But, I mean, not even 10 yards in front of us, Scotty just stops me. He's like, whoa, dude. And this, like, 5-foot rattlesnake is head up staring right at us. And we talked about this with Rob.
Yeah.
And you talking about snakes. And what's the William. I don't ever see snakes when I'm out hunting, and I hear people talk about them all the time. I know they're out there, but I was saying, like, I don't know if I walk too hard or what. I mean, but I don't ever see snakes. This is the first time I've seen one, and that was freaking scary to see this thing. And that sucker will hurt you, a 5-foot rattlesnake.
Yeah, that was the funny story what you mentioned about William. He was guiding one of the guys and walking out of a stand one afternoon, one coiled up same way in the road, but it was rattling. And so instead of shooting it, or, they video it. Well, then the other guys are like, hey, send us the video. We want to send it to guys. Well, I guess he was with the next morning they were hunting, and William, just an old man, got to pee every 30 minutes, had to step out of the blind and start peeing. But he said right as he was going to pee, the guy just decided he was going to play the video, like not as a joke, but just wanted to watch. So he steps out of the blind, pants down, and just, and so he jumps thinking there's one around him when it's just the guy playing the video.
That's crazy. Yeah, this thing was massive. We'll have to pop the picture up.
It's
I'll
crazy.
show you guys later. But Scotty's son has this cool little single action 410.
Oh, that's cool.
And we're like, hey, Jay, pop that thing right in the head. And he actually missed the head, shot it in the back end of it. So I was like, oh, man. I pulled out my knife. I'm like, I'm not doing this. And I grabbed the log and like just slammed it.
I was about to give you some Woods credit there. Like,
No, I thought about it. I had the knife out, and I look at Sky, and I'm like, can you shoot again? And Sky's like, man, these are $10 bullets. I'm like, well, that's better than a hospital trip. And I just like, whatever, and I grabbed a log and just slammed the crap out of it and carried it back. But
That's
then
funny.
we skinned it and pinned it up on the
oh, I
light
did see
pole.
that picture.
Yeah.
I did. Yeah, that's cool.
Thing was huge, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huge.
So me and Brant, I mean, we've both killed everything, right? Deer, pigs, turkey, ducks, alligators, whatever it may be. Anything in North America. Killing an elk and hunting an elk is by far the greatest thrill.
Wow.
It is turkey hunting on steroids.
Which
Jeez.
On
I
steroids.
went, the last trip was my first one, your second.
Second.
And I was the only one out of the group not to harvest one, but I got to live vicariously through Thomas because they hunt you with 2 guys and 1 guide.
Yeah.
Got it.
And we had been
Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
This big ass guy, and then a one-legged guy, and then our guide is 5'6", and just, dude, this guy is a mountain troll. He can crawl, I mean, over a mountain like that.
Yeah.
And then we got
and he's
us
60
two hunt
years old.
together.
and
He's
he's
like a
60?
Sherpa.
Oh, yeah.
yeah, and it was
Scales it.
so that morning hunt, which tell me if I need to get back to what we're supposed to talk about, but so we had been 2 days and hadn't heard squat, and like, I mean, we'd heard maybe a bugle here or there.
Yeah.
Had one close encounter, but it was like we walked up on him, scared him, he ran off. This morning we got out of the truck, had walked 200 yards, and then all of a sudden it sounded like we were in an auditorium with an orchestra. I mean, bugle,
That's
bugle,
what I hear.
bugle.
Yeah, it's just crazy.
And it was
my goodness.
down at the bottom of the ridge, and he basically looked at us and was like, let's go. And so we booked it. He got right to the top of the ridge where the trees came to a point and grabbed me and said, stand right here. And so I stand right here, and they're going off like crazy. And so him and Thomas disappear. No idea. And all of a sudden I see, which I don't know a ton. I mean, I'm not experienced in elk, so I couldn't tell you the size, but it was definitely one I was going to shoot. All I see him
That's
is
all I know.
over the ridge, mouth open, steam coming out, bugling, just walking up with cows. So I'm just like, and it's all high brush. So I was like, okay, if he gets to this path, finally he got to a point where he's about 50 yards. I felt comfortable taking the shot. I was like, if he gets to this path, and it was right as I put my release on my bow, I was like, he needs 10 more steps. I'm pulling back. And right as I'm right there, all of a sudden, flap. And so so my adrenaline is already pumping because of this thing. Now I'm freaking out because I hear what sounds like a bat hitting a wet sandbag.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden running, and I have no idea what's going on behind me. And so I'm like freaking out. And then all of a sudden I hear another arrow fly. And I was like, what the? And then another arrow fly.
Keep them coming. Keep them coming.
And so I'm like, but the elk, my elk, he's so busy chasing cows, he's still there. So I'm still trying to keep it together, but he just never gets to that path and just keeps running off. And so finally, once he disappears, Rich, our guide, grabs me and is like, let's go find Thomas's. And I was like, what the hell happened?
Because this was supposed to be like his morning. So when you're hunting 2 hunters, 1 guide, you get on a bull, you think he's going to come in, 1 hunter goes up front.
Yeah, like a primary guy.
Primary guy, and the other guy goes back with the guide in case the bull tries to circle and get upwind. Yeah. Well, the morning before, I was the primary guy. I had a bull come in, couldn't get a shot. Another little bull came in, spooked everything. So the next morning, it's Brantley's turn, okay? So we get up on all these things, and he puts Brant in the right position. Rich just says, hey, just go over here. I had 5 bulls within like 15 yards, and I passed up on the first 4, and the 5th one came up, and I said, dude, I cannot do it anymore.
Yeah.
And he was
and
at
I
15.
have no idea any of these have come in.
Because
They're
they're
all
behind
One
you.
in front of you.
Yeah. So I hit this thing, not even a full pass through, hits the opposite side rib cage and stops. And he runs off, and I think he's at like 50 yards, and he's I can tell he's hurt, and I think he's gonna die. But I was like, you know what, I'm gonna get another one in him.
Yeah.
So I throw my 50-yard pin on him. Whoop, goes right under him. I'm like, oh, son of a bitch. He runs again. I think he runs another like 15 yards, 65. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna try it again. You know, why not? I got 6 arrows. So I throw another one in. Boom, tried at 65, right under him again. Completely misjudged both distances. I mean, by like 30 yards each. First shot was at like 70-something yards.
Oh, my God.
The second one was at like 90 or something crazy.
Wow.
Because I was just drunk on adrenaline.
Yeah, absolutely.
So then he gets out of sight, and I literally just knelt down and was like thanking God.
Yeah.
Like almost on the verge
that
of
you
tears.
got one in them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was just the craziest, the best feeling.
And then that was
incredible.
crazy. Finally, we're like, because all the elk had moved off.
Yeah.
And so I go get this story because I'm like, I have no idea what just
Yeah.
happened.
You're
They
just
tell me
hearing
6
arrows.
bulls
Just
have run
hearing
in. And I
arrows
was
just
like,
flying.
what do you
Like,
mean 6 bulls have run in? Like, I didn't.
Yeah.
So then we start, all right, let's go find his. And so we find we're talking droplets
Yeah.
of blood.
Yeah,
And so
it's
we are
crazy.
like, and I'm sure Thomas has a sickening feeling. Like, we're not finding a thing.
Yeah.
And we're within 10 yards of where he shot him. And then all of a sudden, Rich is like, what are we looking for? And he's like 15 yards that way in the brush. Like he had kind of like circled a little bit and then fallen in the brush. Jeez. And then as we're sitting there taking pictures, we had taken pictures, we're celebrating. 2 bulls go off at the bottom of the ravine. And he's like, let's go.
Yeah.
And then so we take off, and Thomas is just chilling up here with a dead bull for like 45
Dude,
minutes.
I sat on that thing. I took selfies. I mean,
He did some things we can't talk
Yeah.
about.
That's
no.
moments with the bull. That's incredible. Yeah, we got to do one of those trips.
It is insane.
Have y'all
Absolutely
done a
insane.
moose hunt at all?
No.
That's the only thing I've heard is comparable. Just because the size.
The size.
Oh, I couldn't
Yeah.
imagine.
It's
Yeah.
hard. I've been putting in on the Maine moose lottery for 6 years now and have yet to get it. I have a buddy from Maine who's put in for 20 years, and he's a resident of Maine. Still hasn't gotten picked.
Dude, we came
But the
back
day I
from.
get picked, it's a 2-week hunt. I'm going up
You
and
have to.
like
You have to.
We came back.
scouting everything.
We came back from Steamboat. Oh, we were skiing in January with my family. We were pulling out, and I mean, this is not a like wild area, like condos everywhere. Pull out on the road. There's male and 3 females walking right in front of us. Car behind them, headlights. They just taking their
don't
damn
care.
time. Could
Yeah.
care less. I'm like, if I could just real quick jump out and do something.
Have you heard of the website Trips for Trade?
I have, yes.
They have.
We
I mean,
talked
I've
to
just
those
seen.
people at SHOT Show. I think.
Mhm.
or
Yeah,
one
I've
of
just
those.
I've just
SCI.
seen some guys, a bunch of people pop up there that are offering moose hunts.
Really
And I don't know what they're looking for. 'Cause they're-
in like out west or in the
I
northeast.
don't remember exactly where.
I think that was at SCI.
Yeah, we talked to those people. I feel like I got
because
there.
we
There's
own,
a guy who runs it, a badass named Slade.
yeah.
Slade.
Slade
Slade's
Johnson.
his name, yeah. So one of my buddies knew him because he went to University of Alabama. Taylor
Fuck
Watkins.
that guy.
I know.
Not Taylor.
Yeah, so Taylor met him at Alabama.
Oh, okay.
So that's how he became friends, and Taylor started putting up hunts down there at their place in Ona for turkeys and stuff.
Yeah.
So it is a cool website for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd love to do the moose hunt, man. I've been up. My wife is from New England, so we go up there a couple times a year, and there's been a few times snowmobiling. You'll get into the like snowmobile track, or sorry for all you New Englanders, I don't know the right term. The certain trails, and the snowbanks will be, taller than you can stand, 6-7 feet, and the moose will get stuck in it. And it's only as wide as this room, 10 feet wide, and you're just pushing the moose the whole time until they have an opportunity to get out, and just praying that they don't turn around.
Yeah.
No
'Cause they
way.
Beat your
are
ass.
They're just
unbelievable.
massive. I mean, they stand
2,000
8 feet tall.
pounds.
Shit,
They gotta be close to that,
They
yeah.
have really skinny legs going up.
Yeah, but then
But they gotta be.
1,500, 2,000
Yeah.
pounds, I would say.
They
for sure.
have their antlers are the fastest growing thing on the planet.
Really?
Yeah.
Moose.
Because they come back every year.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
You gotta think
Yeah.
it goes
It is
this
a deer.
big.
Did y'all see that
every-
video of the moose that went
Same
viral?
with elk.
They caught it on the drone of him shaking his head and shedding both antlers.
Oh no!
Really?
Oh, you have to look at that. It was pretty sweet. They got a drone video. Like someone was just flying a drone and was filming a moose, and at the same time shook his head, popped off both antlers.
Wow! I'd love to see that.
That would be awesome.
gotta see
Rob,
that.
Yeah, I would
will
love
probably comment in the video on the comments saying, "Hey, at the time he killed a moose in Alaska. It was the number 4 moose all time in Alaska."
Oh no way!
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen. I've seen the picture of his bear he killed,
Oh,
which was stupid.
dude, that is.
I think it was with him and I think Cole was on that trip,
Yeah.
wasn't he?
Cole.
That's
went-
if you also want to see a video, Cole's bear were like running at him when he shot it.
Jeez.
I think that was.
Or was that?
Yeah, I don't know. It may have been Rob's. I think.
It might have been. But
Yeah,
they've got it,
and they're
on
using
video.
like rabbit and distress calls and stuff.
Oh gosh.
And these bears are running to them, and they're 10-foot bears, 10-foot browns. And Rob is just. I mean, he should have had an M16 or AR-15. I mean, he
Did
was
he have a
shooting-
bow?
No, he was shooting
about to
a
say,
bolt
damn.
action as
Yeah.
fast as he could.
Jeez.
Probably like I said.
Did y'all hear that story of Ranella and when they went bear hunting in Alaska and the bear came in their camp? They were like eating food. They had, what were they hunting? Elk hunting or moose hunting? I don't know. They were hunting something, killed something, brought it back to camp, and they were like cooking at night, whatever, going to go hunt the next day. And a bear just comes running through. Nobody had their sidearms. They were all like on the ground. Comes running through. One of the guys, I forget his name, jumped on the bear's back with a knife. I kid you not. It was like got thrown off immediately. He comes back through the camp, and they were like, we were just lucky. Like he
That's
would have killed
insane.
all of us. I mean, like one hit from one of those bears, and they take moose out with one
yeah.
shot.
What was that guy doing? Just trying to jump on its back?
I have no idea. Like you got to hear it. Ranella tells the story. I think it's on one of the Rogan podcasts.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. Yeah, and he's hunting with like world class hunters. It's not like newbies.
Yeah.
And they're like we just weren't
Out of
prepared.
position.
And the guy decided he was going to jump on its back and
Yeah.
stab it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
He
crazy.
said, "You know what?
Hey.
If I do this, it'll be
Probably
on
like
Joe Rogan
with a
podcast."
guy like in you're blind. That's what he would have done. Like I got this. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
What do we leave off with the? We're talking about the dagger.
Yeah.
So that one, so that's Black Dagger Military Hunt Club,
Gotcha.
and Dave Winters is the guy who operates it and runs it.
Yeah.
I believe they're 501c3, and all he does is connect veterans and active duty guys with hunt clubs and gets them out in the outdoors.
Oh, cool.
And they're based right there in McDill.
Okay.
So he works there. He works at SOCOM. I think it's Special Operations Command Center or something like that.
Yep.
So he works there, and a lot of the other guys work there as well.
Very
We were going to talk about Bobby.
Oh, so
Who's Bobby?
Bobby.
you want to talk about a badass?
Yeah.
So we get, what was this? I mean, this was COVID.
This was COVID.
So 2020?
So we had to cancel the entire hunt, and Dave Winters called and said, "Hey, can this one guy come? You're going to be impressed. He just wants to come. He can't talk to anybody. He can't be within 6 feet of anybody."
We already had the weekend allotted. So we're like, well,
Sure.
let's go down. And it was like the week before, we get an email forwarded to us. And it's basically saying what Thomas said was like, hey, guys, have this guy coming in, blah, blah, blah. But like, got a call from a 4-star general or something like that. I'm the only one approved to be with him. You can't come over to my side of camp, can't come hang out. Like, you know, you're just going to, if you're at camp, blah, blah, blah. And so Thomas and I were like, and the best part is we hadn't met the guy yet, but he's at camp. Well, then all of a sudden we're sitting at the old cowboy cabin. This cabin's 100 years old that we built a makeshift porch on that we're sitting there just having drinks on the outside. Dude comes walking up. And so we both kind of make like side eye contact. Like, what do we do?
Do we leave
What's up?
or stay here?
Yeah. He's like, what's up, fellas? We're like, hey, you know, and he just sits there and talks to us. Coolest guy in the world. Super nice. I mean, super casual. But then that same day, that day he flew in, Rob dropped him off in the afternoon. Before he made it back to camp, had a text, said, hey, I had a turkey. I killed a turkey. Come get me. Next morning, 20 minutes after daybreak, hey, I got a turkey. Come pick me up. That afternoon, took out some other member that was down there and his like daughter, just because she had never shot a bird. They killed a bird.
Wait, he took the member and the daughter out.
Yeah.
Yes.
He ended up killing 5 birds in 48 hours. Or being a part
Calling
of
in, yeah.
5 birds killed in 48 hours.
And he was like special ops guy.
He was. Have you seen the movie 12 Strong?
Yeah.
Yes, he's like
He's one of the 12.
Oh,
my
no
God.
way. Yeah, I've read
so
that
he
book.
was one of the
That's
first
incredible.
12 guys in, what was it, Afghanistan, right after
Yeah,
9/11?
it was originally the book's called Horse Soldiers
Yeah.
because they went in on
Yeah.
horses.
Yes.
The first guys deployed, he was one of them.
And they weren't SEALs. They were like
It was
Delta
a couple
Force,
Green Berets
right?
and a couple,
Yeah, probably
Yeah.
a mix of them.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So
And-
he is, and you wouldn't expect it.
Yeah, they all look like dads. I saw pictures
He's
of them.
5'8" to 5'10",
Yeah.
somewhere in there. But you can just tell, like, if you want to send somebody in
That's the
to
guy.
go get somebody and take them out,
right in. And
you're sending freaking Bobby in. Like, you can just tell
Like,
it. And
we were
he's-
sitting around camp, and he's like, he's trying to find a picture, and he's like, oh,
Bobby's not his real name.
he was like, oh, this is kind of a dumb video, and they're over the Keys practicing jumping out of planes. And he's like, yeah, look at this idiot. And he does like a 360 rodeo flip out of the plane. He's like, what an idiot. And I'm like, yeah. Who would do
Idiot,
that?
moron.
Yeah.
It was him.
Oh, that one was
Yeah,
him?
he did a gainer, and he
Oh,
was like,
that was it.
he goes, I got in trouble after, but I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
But now, like, his thing, so he's retired. I don't even know if he's 50. If he is 50, he's young 50s, but he's retired. I think he's got, his 30 years in, full benefits. And now all he does is hunt, and then he supports veterans.
Wow, that's awesome.
It's crazy.
And that
Like, he
was-
wants to come down to all our hunts, and he's just a guide. And just to be there with the guys, he's been, he's seen action with them. He knows what they've been through, and he just wants to be there to support them.
Well, there was one guy that came down 2 years ago.
Yeah, mustache.
Thick mustache.
Great mustache.
Phenomenal. Like 2 curls in the end, like waxed everything. And he's just having a lot of troubles after, he has a service dog now to help him through, and just not even that, having a lot of home life issues, family issues, and Bobby knows him. And so he came down just to be with him. And, because that guy, the mustache, he came down, he was an amputee. I remember the first thing anybody said, he walks up to Thomas, he's like, you above the knee or below the knee? And then they just start like joking and talking, and but super cool group. And so that was probably, this year was fun because it was all younger guys.
Gotcha.
Last year was probably the most fun group just because they got after it in the woods and at camp. And there was also the guy Big Al.
Big Al was 6'8", 300 and something and had lost 100 pounds.
Oh my
Oh
god.
my god.
And Big Al was basically what they called the door kicker. He was the guy that kicked the door open.
Yeah.
And they would, if needed, stuck a gun on his shoulder and started firing.
Oh my
Sure.
gosh.
Yeah.
And
He was the base of the pyramid for cheerleaders.
and that was
more
it.
than
And the
that,
best part is I took Big Al out the first night, and
You two sitting in
you
a
and
blind.
Big Al-
Oh,
I
yeah.
could fit in a
yeah,
blind.
no, we went and sat on the ground, but then he was like, I don't know if I can get up, and I was like,
I don't know
if I can get you up. Let me go get the Can-Am and the toe strap, but then that was hilarious because and that one's fun because again the kids is awesome because you're more of in a mentor state, enjoying it.
Yeah.
These guys, you end up just sitting around the fire.
Yeah, telling stories,
shooting the shit.
And
hearing
you let
stories.
these guys just tell.
Yeah.
I don't have a story to tell these guys.
No.
But Big Al gets hammered drunk.
Dude.
And then
Well, how much does that take?
Well,
Oh.
and he hadn't
5
killed a
bottles?
turkey yet.
yeah.
It's a whole bottle of tequila.
And we're like, dude, take it easy. We're going to hunt in the morning. He goes, honestly, guys, I don't even care if I kill a bird. He goes, I'm just plenty happy being out here, being around this campfire, listening to Morgan Wallen. That's all he played. Morgan
man.
Wallen.
So
This was 2 years
Yeah,
ago
'cause-
when Morgan Wallen just started to become popular.
Because this had gotten till 11 o'clock midnight.
Yeah.
And, we're up before them. We're working. And so we're like, I remember specifically, I was sitting next to him. God bless both of those folding chairs. And I was like, man, I think I'm going to call it a night. He just grabs me and is like, we ain't done here yet. You got to hear this new guy I've been listening to, Morgan Wallen. And I'll never forget, plays the song Sand in My Boots.
Yeah.
How many
But-
times? I mean, he played it on repeat.
And he was just sitting back in his chair, sand in my boat. It was, but it's just like, yes, sir, I will sit here until you tell me
You ain't
I can
going
go to
anywhere,
bed.
boy.
And you could tell it was just like, he's just getting his mind off everything.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
That's just
he was just enjoying
That's what's
himself.
great about it.
He didn't care if he killed a bird or even saw a turkey.
It was almost just like hanging out the guys at
Yeah.
the hunting game, which is part of the best part of hunting.
yeah, that's 90% of it is what I have to tell myself because
Yeah.
I'm not that successful in the hunting world, but I love it, man. Yeah, that's,
Oh, yeah.
that's the whole goal is just get out there, escape, and hang out with your buddies.
They when we came back with Wyatt and I from the hunt, it's so funny. Just like if you haven't experienced it, you don't know what goes on. She's like, "What did y'all do the whole time, Brooke? Like, I mean, what did y'all do at night? Did y'all just sit there and I'm like, no, we just kind of hung out. Like, it's a good time,
we do just sit there and talk.
Yeah.
Wife's the same. She's like, did y'all have good conversations? And I'm like, no. And she's like, so y'all just sit there? And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Sit around the fire.
What do y'all talk
sporting
about?
events on.
Nothing really. Yeah,
nothing.
whatever's happening.
Yeah.
To probably about
Politics.
how bad Auburn is in sports this year.
Yeah,
and that's about it.
easy.
But what's cool is, you're talking about that and how camp's the biggest part. And so Thomas and I are both new dads. And, but when you sent me the text about Wyatt and just about what he said to you in the car ride home, I remember specifically going like that with my phone, putting it down and showing my wife. And I was like, that's what I can't wait for.
Yeah.
Because she's like, what if he doesn't like hunting? And I was like, that's fine. But he better love the outdoors.
Yes, exactly.
If he just wants to go sit at camp,
Yep.
awesome. If he doesn't want to go sit in a tree stand, doesn't want to kill an animal, okay, that's great. But we're gonna love that's one thing, and just to be able to go do that, and the special time you get.
Oh yeah.
When
absolutely.
you're not, the rest of the family is always great to beat around, but to have that special time with.
Shout out to Brooke and Collins. We didn't leave y'all out.
Yeah.
No, but you're 100% right. Like, he was just so excited to hang with in his mind, like you're saying, like the guys at the end of the trip, like you kind of look up to him. They were like, he was like, Mr. Brant. Yeah, we gotta get on that lease with Mr. Brant. He's so cool, Mr. Springer. Da, 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 da. I was like, well, me and Mr. Jesse are working on it. We're doing what we can, But he just wanted to be there with the guys, It was neat. And I mean, that's the same thing too. And I know Jesse with girls, but like when we've been quail hunting with them. Like they just love being out there.
Yeah,
They
love it. They love it. Every moment of it. I had all the girls up in Georgia last weekend, and they didn't come turkey hunting with me. They're just not quite old enough yet.
Yeah.
But they were catching fish. Ryan Scotty has this little electric 4-wheeler for his 5-year-old son, and Gracie got on it, and it's so funny. I got video of it. She's wearing a helmet. The helmet's like bigger than her whole body, and her head's just doing this. So she's bumping around, and I love it. You know, and she's having a blast, and they're digging up crawfish and catching whatever grasshoppers. Just that's what they need to do.
Absolutely.
You know,
And that's what just. I mean, I remember when we were kids at the different hunting camps and all that. Like, you know, I'm a firm believer in if you have your kids in the outdoors, let alone hunting, but just the outdoors, I think they're just so much less likely to get in trouble and be more respectful. One, appreciate the environment, the outdoors, all that. But I mean, the freedom that we got as kids just because of the hunting camp.
Sure.
Like, if my mom knew half the stuff my dad let me do.
Absolutely.
But
it's only allowed at the hunting camp.
right. Just allowed at the hunting camp.
Yep.
But you know what? I don't have a desire to go drive a car on the road before I'm 16 or, you know, drink, because I know there's a time for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because I'm at the hunting camp, and as long as I didn't do anything to put someone in danger, I rarely heard
And
a
it
thing
made
from
you
my
want to
dad.
go back.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to go back and drive that golf cart or that 4-wheeler and know, hey, I'm out there and I'm learning how to do it and stuff like that.
And I mean, you guys may have had these experiences, but I don't think I've ever had a bad experience at a hunting camp. It doesn't matter where it was in the country or who it was with. You know, normally it's with people I know or somewhat know, but there have been certain times where I only know my father or he's not even there. You know, I just know a buddy that I'm with.
Right.
But it's just something about that environment that it's all good information. It's all quality. It's all just something that helps grow you. You know, and I think that's important, talking about kids getting there. You know, you always learn something. You always learn something coming out of the hunting camp.
Oh, absolutely. Did y'all hear the story? It was recent. I think Chris Pratt told it about taking his son fishing.
Oh, it's incredible.
Dude, it's hilarious.
It's incredible.
He said his dad had a rule where you could cuss when fishing. Yeah, okay, so y'all heard the story? I don't repeat what he said.
And the best part is he's like, stupid bass. And he's like, yeah, you can cuss. And then he's like, fuck you.
That's great.
I mean, you can't, as a father, do anything but laugh in that situation.
have
you know?
Yeah.
It's so funny, man.
Yeah. And that's when you wait till they're older, then you tell the mother about. So
Yeah, dude. Or you share it on social media with millions of people. You know, one or the other.
That's why we love Chris Pratt. He's a great dude.
He is, man. He's a stud.
Chris Pratt.
And married to Arnold Schwarzenegger's daughter.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
random is that?
It's pretty awesome.
I guess. I don't know. I don't know much about him.
I'd love for Arnold to be my father-in-law. I love my father-in-law.
imagine
but,
asking that question.
Yeah.
Like having to sit down and make the ask to marry his daughter. And then he's like,
can't
you know,
imagine
all
that.
I can think about is he's like, hold on, let me go grab it, you know, my wife or whatever to be a part of this conversation. But of course, like all I can think about, he's like, I'll be back.
I'll
Yeah.
be back.
Not going to answer you.
And then he gets on the chopper.
On the chopper.
Hold on, I got to get on the chopper. Yeah, I think you got to be Chris Pratt. You have to have played like a superhero in order to
100%.
that credibility.
This is getting way off topic, and we actually cut this if you want to. Have y'all heard the Chris Pratt story about when he played at Genesis in California, Tiger Woods competition? He's up there. He says, you know, I've been playing golf like 2 years. I'm like a 98, you know. So I usually shoot 98. I'm like a, what is that, like 20-something handicap. Yeah. He says, I'm hitting them on the, you know, warming up in the driving range, and they're just spraying everywhere. Left, right. He goes, and at the time I was using a bright yellow ball. He goes, and my thought was, you know, because I can see it. If it goes in the trees, if it goes in the grass or whatever. He goes, so I get up to the tee, first tee, thousands of people around, Tiger Woods at the tee. And he goes up and he goes, nice yellow ball. And he said, in my mind, I'm a comedian. I want to be self-deprecating. So I'm going to tell him, like, yeah, so I can see it in the trees or bushes or wherever. He goes, but for some reason, I just, like, lost it. He goes, and I said, so when it goes over 300 yards, I can see it because I don't see well past 300 yards. And Tiger was like, okay. And so he said at the time when he registered for the tournament, he put down a 20-something handicap.
Yeah.
And so he goes up to the tee, you know, he said, nervous as hell, I'm shaking. He goes, and something just clicked, and I hit the best drive of my life. I mean, he just striped it. I held the pose. It was 300 yards down. He goes, I look over at Tiger. And he's like, you sandbagging motherfucker. He goes, it's the greatest story of my life. Greatest story of my life.
That's incredible.
Yeah. We should get him on the podcast.
Yeah.
Who, Tiger? or
Either.
Chris Pratt.
yeah,
It'll
either
come
one.
in
Love
time.
that. Love that.
In time. Well,
All right.
yeah, boys, it was good. We need to do it again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Absolutely. That was fun. We'll catch up.
Yeah, next time we'll tell you the story about Thomas killing a pig by taking his leg off.
Oh my God, I gotta hear that story.
He should.
We'll save
Yeah.
that for next time.
I have to write it or imagine it, but yeah.
You got to play it out in your head.
I got to play
Has
it out in my
happened
head.
Yet,
Yeah.
Or is this something we're
No,
trying to
no,
do?
but now it's a goal.
Right.
You know?
I like it.
You got to have
I like
goals.
it.
Yeah,
All
man.
right.
So-
Well, thank you guys for coming here. This was a ton of fun. Great talking with you. We'll be back
Yeah.
very soon with the next episode.
Thanks for having us. Appreciate
Awesome.
you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
All righty. See ya.